It's been a while since I did my last update, and this is actually going to be the last journal update video of 2025. I think I made it to like 25 episodes or something like that. So I want to be kind of vulnerable, and obviously my videos are usually very yappy, but this is gonna be kind of yappy because it's just unpacking a lot of different things that were on my mind. So the first things first, in terms of like notebooks this year, I did contemplate on if I wanted to do a what worked for me or what didn't work for me in 2025 video. But honestly, because like I get really ADHD about this type of stuff, what might not work for me like in 3 months will suddenly work for me like in 6 months. So I don't know. It's hard for me to make a definitive list of like what hasn't worked and what has worked, just because like I know that my thoughts about it can fluctuate a bit. And it's already fluctuated so many times, especially with my Hobonichi Techo, like bless her soul, because I have repurposed that Techo this year like maybe 5 times, which is so funny to me. But hey, like, I mean, it is what it is. But if you had asked me like 6 months ago, does the Techo work for me? I would have probably already been like, yeah, it's not going to work for me for the rest of 2025. And yet here we are, like, I'm still using my Techo. I have just been using it as a memory log still. Not like super consistently. There have definitely been like pages that are blank, but it's been working for me, so I will probably continue on with it as a memory log in 2026 because I already bought the 2026 version during the launch. I also get like really crazy decision paralysis, like where I'm literally stuck mentally buffering if I have to make decisions about certain things, especially like notebooks and stuff. So I'm more of a like a spontaneous type of person for the most part. Like I like to just kind of like just make the decision on the spot sometimes. On that note, I also wanted to talk a little bit about like what I'm struggling with. I don't want to get too deep into it. I know that a lot of times I talk a little bit too much about like personal stuff or like things outside of notebooks. And at the end of the day, like I'm a channel that is showing notebooks and journals. But that being said, I feel the need to share things with you guys just because I know that some people who are watching have similar struggles. The way that like social media, including YouTube, curates content, right? Like people aren't being like vulnerable 24/7, and I'm not saying that anyone should be, but like when everything is like picture perfect and like here's how perfect like my journal spreads are and like how exciting my life is, I just find it so unrelatable that I can't even watch the whole video. Now I know that makes myself sound like a negative person, and I'm sorry, but I just wanted to be honest about how I feel about stuff like that. Like I know when times are tough and like things are scary in the world, I know a lot of us kind of go to like an escape, a form of escape. It's why we watch like movies and documentaries and TV shows and like all that. Like not everybody wants to feel like they're seeing a reflection of their own lives, right, through content, because like that's already scary as is. There are plenty of escapes out there, and I do have my go-to like escape from like reality things that I like to watch. But at the end of the day, when it comes to like notebooks and like journals, for me it's deeply personal. So I also feel the like desire to be personal with you guys when I make these videos. I have tried being that type of content creator in the past, I believe. Like earlier this year, I wanted to feel more curated, more perfected in a way where I show you guys all my like pretty spreads. And if I'm going to be honest with you guys, like I am always going to be like aesthetics first. I know that's always been like frowned upon in like the planner community, where like if you focus on aesthetics, it's not like really practical, but I'm just an aesthetic driven person. It's just how my brain is. And I do think that like that is important to me. But also what's important to me is to talk about like my mental health and like things I struggle with. I said I'm not going to get too like deep into the personal stuff, but I just want to let you guys know that I am dealing with some health issues, and I'm not going to be specific about what it is, but just know that it is really affecting me in every way, like physically and mentally. I'm having really severe cognitive decline. You'll hear me buffering a lot, and that's just kind of how it's been for the last few months now, like maybe the last 6 months. So yeah, I'm finding it difficult to find words. And yeah, it's like, it's very disheartening, honestly. Like, it's super disheartening. I'm struggling to talk about it right now, but I just wanted to be honest about it, because like, when I'm struggling in that way, it's also hard for me to write things in my journal. Whereas in the past, I could just kind of fluidly write what's on my mind in my journal. And lately, I don't know, like, I'll have my pen to paper and I am lost for words. That being said, at the end of the day, my planners and my journals are my friends. They really truly are. They are a part of me. To me, I see them as like friends who are always there for me. And sometimes I do neglect them. Sometimes I don't feel the need to come to them for everything. But then when I do need to come to them, they're always there, you know? So that's kind of how I view my journals. Like, I don't feel stressed about my journals, if anything. There are a million things I need to be stressed about, like my health. I'm losing my health insurance also because I lost my job. And for the first time in my career, I'm struggling to know what's next. I'm struggling to find a job. So there's just all these like really, really scary things happening in my life. Like right now, I just feel really lost. And it's hard to be lost when you're like nearly 40 years old. And I don't say that like in a demeaning way to anyone who's 40 or older. I just mean that to myself personally. Because by now I should at least have an inkling of what I want to do. I know I briefly talked about my career pivots in like some past videos. Honestly, guys, like I don't know. I don't know if those career pivots are the right move. I don't know if they are like, I don't know if they make sense to do. Like, I don't know. If I'm being honest and vulnerable with you guys, I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm going to do come January. I'm just stuck. Like, I'm having decision paralysis. I'm having executive dysfunction. Like, I'm stuck. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, you know, you're having the winter blues, you're having the seasonal depression. So obviously it's not going to help, but it's like a vicious cycle. You know what I mean? Not knowing what to do is creating the depression. And then the depression is also creating the, like, I don't know what to do cycle. Yeah. So again, I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, I do feel like saying all this stuff is not to bring anyone else down. It's just to be honest with you guys and like let you know that like this is my real life. Like this is how, you know, just because my journals might be pretty or just because my planners might look neat doesn't mean it reflects on like how I'm actually feeling. And the fact that I haven't journaled at all should probably indicate something, but these things are purely here as a hobby, you know, like these things are here to be my escape sometimes. But at the same time, it's like trying to find the balance of, are my notebooks my escape or are they here to be a tool? And I would say both, definitely both. So I think that's why it's nice having different notebook systems to play around with, because like, for example, my Hobonichi cousin is kind of a reflection of like my escape, if you think about it, right? Like it's very beautifully curated and like I've always tried to be very aesthetics first, almost like a junk journaling type of aesthetic. And that works for that. And I really don't want to use my cousin as like a place to journal out like my thoughts. Because I feel like, again, it's like my escape. And then having other type of journals and notebooks dedicated to being more real, and it helps as a tool, as a memory logger, you know, and all that other stuff. Like, I feel like that's like the beauty of this hobby, is just like I'm able to find the balance, because you're not stuck with one book. Like you can have as many books as you want. I know this has been a lot of yapping with just like not really anything to look at. So, I apologize. I don't really know what else I could show you guys while I'm yapping. I also cannot multitask. So yeah. But as you can see here, I kind of brought back the little pocket notebook that I was using in the beginning of the year. And this is my first Paper Republic notebook journal. I got it in this beautiful red color. It's patinaed really beautifully. Like, it's not super like shiny, but it is a lot darker of a red than when I first got it, and it's just like so pretty. I love the way that it smells. I added some new charms to it. I am just really finding myself gravitating towards like a pocket journal right now, just because it's easy to maintain. And really, this isn't anything profound, but I have just been writing like daily notes in here, and these are really just like bare bones notes, just like literally some things that I want, that I like have in my mind, or I had in my mind at that time and on that day. And basically this kind of replaced my memory logger. Like I said, like with my Hobonichi Techo, like it ebbed and flowed so much this year. But I think that's what I like about this notebook is, like, I don't know, like I feel like you can repurpose it a million times and like who cares, like if it's not consistently the same thing, as long as it's working for me as a tool. So yeah, I've just been using the Techo as my memory logger, but I do want to say that sometimes I'm a little bit annoyed by all of the margins and all of the extra stuff in this book. I don't know. It's just like all the quotes on the bottom. I always get the Japanese version because of the quotes being a little bit distracting. Also, because of all the extra stuff, like there's not as much room. And I mean, that's fine. I mean, like there's nothing wrong with the book itself. It's just how I'm using it isn't the most practical to what the book is for, right? Because obviously the margins are here for a reason. There's no right or wrong way to use it, but you know, like I think that's why I just kind of like struggle being consistent in this book sometimes. It's just because I don't like all the extra stuff in it. But I do think as a memory logger, it just kind of helped. Like it just works. Like, I don't know. It's dated, it's small, it's easy to log stuff in. So, but right now I have been kind of enjoying this like very, very small system with the field notes. And again, just bare bones notes. Just because I've mentioned this a few times, but because I have bad short-term memory, I need to, if I don't memory log somewhere, whether on my phone, in a notebook or whatever, if I don't jot notes down, I just completely forget like the days and everything feels like a blur. So it's definitely a tool that I need to ideally upkeep with. And putting it in this pretty little pocket notebook system definitely does help. I also have like just my scratch notes notebook still in here from the beginning of the year. And then I have like itinerary plan notes in this, and then an art book in here that I started in the beginning of the year, but I didn't really get too far with it. But this is just here, you know, because it's like the end of the year, so I'm not going to start any notebook or anything. If I'm going to continue on with any little art pieces, I'll have this book. That's just my little notebook system right now. And I've been enjoying it just because it's pocketable and it's small and it's easy to carry around with me everywhere I go. And yeah, the red just kind of brings like, I don't know, uplifts my spirit a little bit. It's very Christmassy. So that's what I've been relying on throughout these troubling times. So I don't really have that much of an update besides like what I wanted to ramble about in the beginning. The only book that I have been really upkeeping in is my pocket Filofax. So actually I'm gonna move all this stuff to the side because I have no space on my desk as is. So this is my pocket Filofax. As you know, I had been using it for content creation since I picked it up, but for the remainder of this year I've actually been using it as my main planner. So nothing has changed in this from what you guys have already seen. It's still just my regular, I missed a couple pages, but it's still my regular content planner. and also my just planner for everything else, like household, personal, work. And yes, it does all fit into my pocketbook because I just don't have a lot going on right now. I'm really just trying to focus on dealing with my mental health and my actual health. I actually had a really bad health scare a week ago. I've just been trying to do the bare minimum with the planning. I do think that I will continue to use this pocket planner in the new year as like at least the content planning. I do want to focus a little bit more on content planning while I have the time, but I also want to focus on a lot of side projects, like, because at the end of the day, I need money and I need to bring in income. So I will be working on freelance and like redoing my portfolio and resume and all that fun stuff. So I think I will be like still using this as just a dedicated content planner. And then I have my other planner notebooks that I talked about in my 2026 lineup video. If you haven't watched that one yet, I kind of already outlined all the notebooks that I want to use. But yeah, I bought a couple of like these like notebooks for my planners next year. And I think those are more for like dedicated, like career related or job related. I mean, eventually I hope that I would find a new job. So I'm definitely going to need like a planner for my job at some point. I always come back to a ring system. There's something nostalgic about it for me because it's the first type of planner system that I ever used. And it's also just such a like forgivable system. Like you can dip in and out of it very, very easily. So yeah, if we come back to it, we come back to it. If we don't, we don't. It's fine. But that's kind of the status of this planner right now until the end of the year. I bought a custom Hibino cover because the Hibino is kind of an odd size. Even though it is A6, it's quite wide, right? So it doesn't really fit into traditional like A6 covers. Just FYI, like it won't fit like in any of the Hobonichi Techo covers. It's just too big. I think it would fit like the Hobonichi 5-year type of journals, but I've never bought those, so I don't really know how big they are. But anyway, so it's been a struggle trying to find one that fits like through any of the usual companies. So I just decided to go on Etsy and get a cover like custom made. And I picked this pink croc pleather cover, I believe. I don't know if this is real leather. I don't think it is. Although it kind of smells like real leather. Maybe it is. But anyway, it is like this croc embossing. I love the croc embossing texture on my Filofax, so I just decided to go with it again. The cover is a little bit big, like it's a little bit long, and doesn't fit like super snug. But I think the more I fill it in and then I start putting things into the pockets, it will start to feel a little bit more like fitted. I actually really like this gray color. It's such a soft gray, like a very warm, like fawn type of gray. And I think it will look really cute with the lavender pink. It's kind of hard to tell from the terrible lighting in my space, but it does kind of look purpley, but it is supposed to be like more pink. So it does fit in. I almost don't even want to like fit the front cover into the pocket here because I almost like kind of like the way the cover of the Hibino looks like this. But I'll show you guys what it looks like fully tucked in. So yeah, it's quite, the cover is a little bit big and not like completely lined up, but it's not the end of the world, I guess. I'm going to try not to let it bother me anyway. So yeah, that is my 2026 Hibino. I did really want to have pockets with this book though, just because I like to keep like little ephemera pieces here and there. But yeah, that is the Hibino book. Okay, so the last thing I want to share with you guys is something a little new and shiny, but I'm really just excited about it because probably because it's new and shiny, but also because it's beautiful and I'm excited to use it for its intended purpose. So this was actually my birthday gift. Well, this was a birthday gift that I got to pick out. So I probably could have picked out something that I didn't already have multiples of. So that's your hint right there. But I just really, really wanted, I actually really, really wanted this, and especially in this color. So I decided to just go for it. And that is this beauty right here. It's so big, it doesn't even fit in the frame. So this is actually another notebook from Paper Republic. And when I say it was a gift from, I mean like not from Paper Republic, I wish. But this is just a birthday gift that I was able to pick out. This is the A4 portfolio from Paper Republic. And I just absolutely love this color so much. I think it's actually my favorite color now that I've picked up multiple Paper Republic journal covers. This is definitely my favorite color. It's probably not going to show up that well on camera, but the color is called Bordeaux. It is a like very dark, like reddish color. It kind of might look a little bit brown or a little bit on the purpley side, depending on the lighting and how you're looking at it. But it is actually like a dark red, like mahogany red type of color. And I really wanted something with like pockets, like a portfolio pocket system. Also, A4 is like the only size that I don't have from Paper Republic, because I have a pocket size from them, their Grand Voyager XL, and now I have the A4, so it's kind of like a completion to my collection. But I do feel like these two are going to be a big hit for me in 2026, just based on how I'm feeling right now, obviously. But something super small, something super big, but for two very different reasons. And I did create this like my own like A4 journal as an art journal. What's interesting is that Midori notebook, the MD notebook that I'm using for this, is a different A4 size, because it does fit this, but these are actually different A4 sizes. If you can kind of see, this one is longer. The Paper Republic one is taller, I mean. But yeah, so the Midori, just an FYI, the Midori MD A4 notebook is much smaller than like the Paper Republic A4. But yeah, I am still using this as my art journal. I absolutely love it. And I know it's like kind of crazy having two A4 journals in the year, but there's no real like time limit to either of these A4 journals. Like they're not like specific to the year. They're just kind of ongoing things. So really the more important thing is like the notebook system that I'm using in here, which is, for this one, is the Midori MD. And yeah, so this is just kind of like my little art and creativity journal. Just want to get more into creating in the new year. So it's less about the leather cover. The cover is just to hold everything. And really it's going to be more about this notebook, because this is the notebook that I'm focusing on for all of my little drawings or whatever in the new year. But yeah, I actually really love this cover too. The only thing that I didn't love is how thin this leather was, but that's just my fault, because I didn't realize like you had to pick a certain like thickness for the leathers. So yeah, this leather is a little bit on the thin side and it's a little bit floppy, but it's still a beautiful piece of leather, so I'm still quite happy with the creation of it. And then this one, it is a little bit different because it is a portfolio, and I definitely don't have the desk space to show you guys all the details. Just moving my candle so like I don't catch anything on fire. So yeah, this portfolio system, it does have pockets. I definitely wanted like pockets for this, like for these big ones. It has some small pockets here, pen pockets, and then like these side pockets here and another like pocket, bigger pocket in the back, which I love. And this leather, like Paper Republic's leather, just smells so good. Like it just has like the best smelling, they just have the best smelling leather. I feel like I have a few different inserts for this book, but right now I have this Kokuyo Campus one that fits really nicely, and then I bought one from Paper Republic, which is just the dot grid system, and then I just customized the cover of it. This is actually from like the Aritzia like bag for the holidays, but I just thought it was so cute and so pretty, so I just use it as a cover. The difference with this notebook, this is not going to be an art book. This is actually going to be a design inspiration book, and I really am trying to figure out how I want to pivot my career in the new year. Either way, like even if I pivot into something completely different, design is just always going to be a big part of my life. It has been since high school. So it's always going to be a part of my life, and I'm always going to be using it in some way. So even if it's not my main job, I definitely still like to freelance. I've been freelancing a lot throughout my career anyway, and I do have clients that I continue to come back to. So this is just going to be kind of like a catch-all for all of my design stuff. And that includes like my portfolio. I'm going to redo my portfolio. I'm going to redo my resumes, and I can stick in my resumes into here, which is nice because I like to be able to like look at my resume on paper. And just like a recruiter would, right? Like they print it out anyway. So I'm going to take notes on inspiration that I see online. The other somewhat pivot that I'm going to be doing within graphic design is going into more branding design. I've always wanted to do like branding design. Like one of my dreams was to work for like cafes, like do branding for cafes. I do think that it's kind of hard to land those kind of brand projects if you don't like know people who, I don't know, who like specifically would hire you for cafe branding. But that's like my dream, I guess. And one of the things that I feel like I'm going to try and like really put into practice in 2026 is just dreaming big and going for it and not feeling like all of the negativities of why it's unrealistic. I feel like I tell myself, like I'm a very realistic type of person and like a realist. And unfortunately, like being a realist sometimes kind of gets you down because like you constantly tell yourself like, yeah, like that's not going to happen. Like dream on, like, you know, it's just, I don't know, stuff like that. It just feels like unrealistic. And then I don't go for it. And then, but in 2026, like I'm going to just go for it. Like I'm going to try and either do mock-ups of cafe designs. Like maybe that will help. Maybe I won't be able to work with a real client for cafe branding, but I want to, like, I've always wanted to make my own cafe branding. But yeah, so I wanted to try and do some pivot into branding design, or learn more about it anyway. And so I'm going to be using this, like the Aritzia notebook, I guess, for all of my branding design stuff. So having a big canvas like this is really nice for design purposes because just being able to see things like bigger and print it out bigger, is a little bit nicer. And also if I pick up any like packaging or ephemera, I don't have to worry about space because a lot of times with like ephemera, like sometimes it's really big and I have to like cut it down. And with these pages, it's just going to be like a blank canvas of whatever I want. So I have tried to do like design inspo notebooks before. The problem is that it's always like a space thing. Like with designs, and even like photography, it kind of just works better when it's more like the images are bigger. And so I always struggled using the inspo like notebooks that were like smaller sizes. Even like in the A5 size, it just wasn't enough room to really put all that inspo on there, especially when it's like not about journaling, it's just about like visuals, right? So having a big canvas like these pages, just I feel like is going to be way nicer to have like those design visuals. And this one, I'm just going to be using this as kind of like a catch-all notebook because it's lined, and just for any notes, any scratch notes, wireframing, all that stuff. So this will be a big component of my design aid, I hope, in the new year. And I never really did something like this before in like an A4 size because I always thought that A4 books would be way too big. But once I created that A4 DIY journal for my art journal, I realized how much I really like that size for visuals. I'm also like very into photography as well. So if I wanted to print things out and put them in here as like photography visuals or inspiration, I think that would be nice too, as opposed to like having to look at like a small printout. Yeah, so that's kind of the idea behind this beauty. Honestly, obsessed with how like nicely this notebook smells. Also, I've been doing like the 3 charms for all of my notebooks recently, just because I like the way that they jingle. Like, it just makes me happy, like, hearing them jingle. But yeah, so this is my beautiful, big, new notebook. I'm really excited about this one, and I just really love this color so, so much. I know it's a really big book, but I kind of feel like it will be cute to like take with me to a cafe, just because I can like stick everything in here that I need. Also, if it wasn't a design portfolio, I think it would make a really great work portfolio, but I definitely want to use it for design purposes. But yeah, that's kind of all the new and exciting things, I guess, that I'll be looking forward to in 2026. And obviously some of these I'm just starting now because they're like, the beauty of this like A4 system is nothing dated. There's no pressure. So I can start kind of like ideating in it now. I mean, not literally now because I have like no motivation to do anything else, but like, yeah, that's just kind of what I have in store for the new year. But anyway, thanks again for watching. And I hope that you guys are not too stressed out about the holiday season. I feel like even if you're not going through like seasonal depression or whatever, holidays are just kind of a stressful time. It's a joyous time, but it's also stressful, like all the planning and like presents and all that other stuff that comes with the holidays. So I hope that you guys are doing well, and if you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and I will see you guys in the next one in the new year. Bye.